All praises. Got the young Jake back there doing AV. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. How's everybody's week? It was good? Not better than this rest, though. Today is the Sabbath day. Most High gives us a chance to rest our spirits. It's crazy. Even though we be usually busy on Saturdays, too, it's still a different type of rest we feel spiritually, right? Be busy all week, but being busy on a Saturday just don't hit the same. All praise be to the Most High. Shalom to everybody online. This is True Nations Friday class. I am tonight's teacher, Brother Yashami, to my left.
Brother Shamar.
We appreciate everybody who's been, supporting us, tuning in every time we go live, sharing and subscribing. We appreciate y'all so much. We ask that you do the same tonight. Like, share, subscribe. We can be found on Facebook and YouTube at True Nation Israelite Congregation. Send this to your parents. Send this to your family members, your co-workers, friends. This word has to go out. We go live so that our people can hear the truth of the Bible. And tonight, we are going into lovers and friends. What does that even mean according to the Bible, right? Check, check, check. So we're going into lovers and friends. And it's crazy because we have a lot of conversations, and not even just us in here who know, but the world at large is talking about what it is to be in love and what it means to truly have a friend, right? All of these different podcasters and all these different YouTube channels, that's like the #1 topic right now. Love, friendship, relationships, how do we get it right? People are complaining, saying, you know what, men would rather be single because women aren't women anymore. Sisters are saying, I'd rather be single because men aren't men anymore. We're going to actually open up the Bible and see what the Most High said our life should look like, right? And that's the funny part, because we open up this word and we see what it should be, and then here's our reality. So we're going to open up these words, and hopefully by the end of this, there'll be some good edification, right? So the first scripture we're going to go to is the book of Revelation, chapter 18. And it's crazy because one of our biggest stumbling blocks in this walk, and not even just in this walk, like I said, in America, really, because that's where the whole world is tuned into, is America, has to do with relationships. When you was by yourself, you seemed like you was cool, but ever since you got into a relationship, your walk just got that much harder, right? For some people, that's not their story. But for the majority of us, that is our story. It's like, man, we trying to figure out how to serve the Most High plus serving my spouse, trying to balance captivity plus righteousness. Man, for a lot of people, it's like a spinning wheel, and they're having a hard time getting traction. But like I said, when we open up this word, the Most High is so beautiful, because he said all we have to do is hearken. All we have to do is hearken. Because when you listen, that means you're willing to apply. It's not going in one ear and out the other, but you're actually like retaining the information. Like, you know what, God? I'm going to do what you said. Because we've been trying our way for like the last however many hundreds of years, and it hasn't worked. We're still here in captivity. At some point, our people have to be like, you know what? Let's try what God is saying. Not what my pastor's saying. Not what my love guru is saying or my therapist is saying. Not what YouTube and Google is telling me, but what God is telling me out of the Bible. And it's crazy because, I liken it to like a junkie or someone who's strung out on drugs. They can complain about and even acknowledge that they have a problem. They'll be like, man, you know what? I just can't put down that pipe. And that's one thing. That's cool. You got to start there. But at some point, he has to be like, damn, the environment I'm in is not conducive for me to change. I'm living in the trap house. You at the place where they delivering the drugs. At what point are you going to sit here and say, you know what? It's bigger than me. It's also my environment. That is something I feel like as Israel, so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, we have failed to realize, and what I'm liking that to is America. America is a violent environment. And it's a reason why the Most High tells us that we're supposed to detach from this place mentally and spiritually. If the druggie never says, you know what, I got to leave this trap house if I ever want to get myself right, he's never going to get right. And it's no different for us as Israelites here in America. If we don't ever acknowledge that we living in the spiritual trap house, the spiritual crack house, and want to leave that place, we're going to stay addicted and we're going to stay falling and stumbling. It's the exact same thing. So when we're dealing with relationships, and really not just relationships, but marriages, right, for more so in this lesson, it's the building blocks to our nation. When you have so many different relationships or marriages, man, kids come from that. Businesses come from that. Households are established, and pretty soon you got thousands and millions of that. Now you got a whole nation of people. You would think that this is something we would spend a lot more time focusing on. But a lot of us, we haven't connected the dots. For a lot of us, 2 + 2 doesn't equal 4. But it's okay because we're going to dive into this word and we're going to see exactly what the Most High says about this, right? Because we live in a day and age where everybody has trust issues. Nobody's willing to trust one another. Nobody's willing to bear one another's burdens. The first time you get crossed, you willing to cut that person out your life. As if we're not faulty. As if you ain't never been faulty towards somebody you loved. We done put up these walls so high, and as soon as anybody enters in and they start messing with our peace, we feel like we got to cut them out of our life. Man, we've been taught to be real selfish here in America, and that's why a lot of us are failing in these relationships. We haven't learned long suffering. We haven't learned meekness, right? Because meekness is a mixture of being patient and also not complaining. A lot of us will be patient for a cool while, but we be complaining during that whole time. We got to learn how to be meek while being long suffering, right? So let's go to the book of Revelation, chapter 18, and let's read verse 1.
Revelation chapter 18 and 1. And after these things I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, is fallen. Babylon the Great is fallen.
So it says Babylon the Great is fallen. This is what John the Revelator was receiving, right? These visions and things to come. This angel said, look, Babylon the Great is fallen, is fallen. Our people don't even understand that America is in the process of falling. We still waiting for like some big old thing to happen. Like, oh yeah, it's already falling. It's slowly tilting over. And then sooner or later, it's going to crash and just, this place is already falling. Why do you think, y'all remember what Donald Trump's slogan was? Again. Because it passed already. This great place has already started to fall. But if we don't realize that as the children of Israel, man, we're going to stay in these messed up cycles. This place is on its way down. It is crashing and burning. We had a long discussion about what's going on over there in Turkey, right? Most High sent an earthquake, not only to Turkey, but to Syria as well. Over 7,000 people died in one day. At what point are we going to sit here and say that's judgment from God? And then like Bishop Tazayawan said, we be so caught up on who actually died. Imagine how many more is injured, severely injured. Building and collapsed on their torso, and now they cut in half. Still alive, though. Yes, sir. 21,000 is the count? My goodness. So by default, you at least got to triple that for injuries. By default. Because when I checked last, it said it was like 4,000 people that had died. Not last time I checked, but while it was still fresh, it was 4,000 people that had died and over 15,000 injured. Brother's saying it's over 20,000 dead now. You can only imagine how many more is injured. They still finding people's bodies in the rubbish and the debris. That's coming to America. 23,000. A brother just checked. I don't know about y'all, but I don't need too much more convincing. That right there makes me want to be like, you know what? Let's get these relationships right. Let's get these marriages right. Because when that comes here to America, imagine you and wifey, y'all getting into it, y'all in a bad space, and something like that happens. I want to be able to look at my partner and be like, you know what? I know you got my back through this, and you know I got yours. But a lot of us, we don't have relationships that really, display that type of love. But it's okay, because we're going to get it right. So read that.
Verse 2, and he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils.
It's become the habitation of what?
Of devils.
No, peaceable people.
Of devils.
Deceivers. This place is full of devils. Go ahead.
And the hold of every foul spirit.
It's a bunch of foul spirits living in America. A whole lot of foul spirits. If you don't realize that you in the cage, you never going to make the dots connect. It's the hold of every foul spirit. It's the habitation of devils, and what else?
And a cage of every unclean.
Not only unclean, but what?
And hateful bird.
Y'all ever seen some of these ferocious birds that live on this earth? Those big old vultures, big old eagles, super huge hawks. Predatory animals, that's where we are living. We have to understand that. Waiting to swoop. The moment you look weak, those birds capitalize. We living in a tank full of sharks. It's bad out here, but we have to acknowledge that. Say it out loud. Go home tonight and be like, man, we really do live, because we always be like, oh yeah, we live in Babylon. You don't understand that. Because if you did, you would be moving a whole lot differently. You wouldn't have the time to argue and complain about the things that you argue and complain about if you understood where you truly live. This is the belly of the beast. It's all bad. So was that all of that? Come on, that's all I needed. Let's go to the book of Micah, chapter 2 and verse 10. And this is just to set a foundation. You can't even begin to work on your marriage and your relationship if you don't first understand this. You got to understand where you live in. Because guess what? Life, who you become or what you don't become is all about influence. If you have positive influences, 9 times out of 10, you're going to have a positive outcome. And if you have negative influences, 9 times out of 10, you're going to have a negative outcome. The Bible just told us what the influences are here. Understanding that, why would we want to be anywhere else but within the doors of True Nation? Why would we want to be anywhere else but at the feast days? You want to be out there with all the unclean spirits and the foul spirits and the devils and the unclean birds? I don't. I want to be up in here with my lions, ready to pounce upon the prey when it's time. Sisters should definitely be up in here with they lionesses, they sisterhood. There's safety in what the Most High has established here. But let's read that, Micah chapter 2 and verse 10, because somebody may say, Yashami, you full of it. All right, let's get 2 or 3 witnesses. Go ahead.
Micah 2 and 10, arise ye and depart.
No, wake up and be comfortable.
Arise ye and depart.
God said once we wake up, we need to depart. And that's not the flee doctrine, meaning once you wake up to knowing that you're a Hebrew Israelite, you got to leave America, uproot you and your family and go somewhere where it's safer. No. Spiritually and mentally depart. Detach from this place. We know you was raised wrong. I know I was raised wrong. At what point are you going to say, I'm going to choose to do better? Go ahead.
For this is not your rest.
But we find ourselves trying to be so comfortable here. The Most High said this is not our rest at all. Read.
Because it is polluted.
Because this land is polluted, what is it going to do to us if we do not depart?
It shall destroy you.
Look at how many relationships are destroyed on a day-to-day basis in America. Marriage is not the goal no more for Americans. Divorce is at an all-time high. Why would we want to bring that same energy into what we call the truth? Why would we want to do that? But read.
Even with a sword destruction.
And the Most High had to let you know it's not like something you just see and it's like, oh yeah, that's bad. It said it's going to be so bad. A sword destruction. The Most High is pleading with our people and telling us, look, if you want to be successful in this walk, we have to depart. We can't be walking that fine line no more of being an American Israelite. Most High said we Hebrews, not American. We gotta ditch the American ideology and mindset. So many of our people battling things that America taught us that you won't find written within the pages of the Bible. It's not in there. Why call yourself an Israelite if you're not going to do the things that Israelites do? What's the point? We've been so Americanized to the point where our people even speak bad about the things that our righteous forefathers and foremothers did, because that's not what Esau taught them. And y'all know what I'm talking about. We got to do better. So let's go over to the book of Tobit. So understanding that we got to get up out the trap house and it's all bad here, how do we actually establish righteous relationships and marriages? Well, we're going to show you according to the Bible. Book of Tobit, chapter 8, and let's read verse 5.
Tobit, chapter 8, verse 5. Then began Tobias to say, Blessed art thou, O God of our fathers, and blessed is thy holy and glorious name forever. Let the heavens bless thee and all thy creatures.
So everybody's familiar with the story of Tobit, right? His son ended up marrying a woman, and it turned out to be a very beautiful thing. But look at how they actually initiated the marriage. Go ahead.
Thou madest Adam and gavest him Eve, his wife, for an helper and stay.
For a what?
For an helper and stay.
The idea of marriage in America is so screwed. Women aren't marrying men to be a helper and a stay. And men definitely are not looking for a woman to be a helper and a stay. I'm going to be honest. Men is looking for that woman that got that BBL body. Word around town that she a throat goat. I'm being real. They got the WAP. Sisters getting with, because he moving all types of weight. He driving the AMG in the hood because he hood rich off selling dope. These is what relationships is being, founded on nowadays. Oh, he's famous. Oh, she's famous. But this brother said, look, he's running it back. He said, man, when you created Adam, he was a dope individual. He was top of the top, a king. And you gave him his wife to be a helper and a stay. Go ahead.
Of them came mankind.
Uh-huh.
Thou hast said, it is not good that man should be alone.
Read.
Let us make unto him an aid like unto himself.
So understanding the roles that each individual even plays within a marriage. Go ahead.
And now, O Lord, I take not this my sister for lust.
So he said, look, I'm getting ready to take on this woman for life, and I'm not even doing it out of lust. What does that mean, y'all? Somebody answer. He said, I'm not taking this sister out of lust. What does that mean? I'm looking for one of y'all to answer. How do you make a marriage if it's not sexual? Like what? Sister said it's not all about sex. There's other things as well. God, all praises. And you know what the cool part is? A lot of people read this and be like, they say similar things. And it's not that you're wrong, but a lot of times it can be blurred, right? There has to be a lust there. A lust is just a strong desire. But what he's saying is, let's go to Hebrews chapter 13 and verse 4. If a man was walking down the street and saw a righteous woman, and she's a single woman, and said, man, she's beautiful as hell, and I know she come from a good family, I want to make her my wife. There's nothing wrong with that. This is what it means when he said, I take not my sister for lust. Go ahead.
Hebrews 13 and 4, marriage is honorable in all, and the bed undefiled. But whoremongers and adulterers God will judge.
He's meaning, I'm not about to take this sister, have sex with her, and leave her. Yeah, you may have a banging body, and I'm going to love you for life, and I'm going to take care of you for that. Nothing wrong with that. Marriage is honorable. He's sitting there saying, I'm not going to be a whoremonger, because that's what's being promoted nowadays. Our brothers and sisters are whoremongers. They're not laying down with people saying, you know what, I'm going to be with you for the rest of my life. They're just saying, hey, thank you for the night. It was great. Talk to you later. So he's saying, look, I'm going to take this sister on, I'm going to build her up, and we're going to do this thing for life in an honorable way. Let's go back to Tobit and read.
Verse 7, and now, O Lord, I take not this my sister for lust, but uprightly.
But uprightly. The only way you can be upright is by doing righteously according to the law. He said, yeah, we're going to do our thing, but I'm going to take care of you forever. And you're going to be by my side, making sure that you're a pillar of rest forever. Go ahead.
Therefore, mercifully ordained that we may become aids together.
Now, how many relationships is starting off like this? He started off his relationship with a prayer. Man, Most High, be with us. Mercifully ordain this, that we can be here doing the right thing by one another forever. Go ahead.
And she said with him, amen.
And she was with it. She wasn't going in there with cold feet like, I don't know if I want to do this. She saw that he was a righteous man, and that was enough for her. Nowadays, the price of a righteous man is like pennies. A righteous man is not valued anymore. We have conversations with sisters about this all the time. I ask sisters, why do you think Laban gave his 2 daughters to Jacob? Because he was a righteous man. So that's what you should be looking for. It's not wrong to have a type. Nothing wrong at all. But sisters, you become too vain when you be like, he got to be this. He got to make this. He got to be able to do this. Look, if he's not righteous, it don't matter. He could be 6'8" with a 12-pack and make $150,000 a year. It's not going to work. But doing this the right way is how we're going to ensure that we have successful marriages. And then also, too, it spills over into the next generation because the kids actually grow up seeing something that they want to practice. Kids nowadays want to grow up, and it's sad because it's almost expected that every woman that gets pregnant is going to be a single mother outside of the truth. It's pretty much a given. But what did the generation before grow up witnessing? Their mama's struggling by themselves. Daddy's out there doing whatever. So we're just repeating the cycle. When we start actually applying this, now the next generation is going to be like, man, I want to do like what dad did, a righteous marriage. I want to be like mom. She found a righteous man. This is what we got to start practicing. So let's go down to the book of Proverbs. Because the cold part is a lot of us, we do get into marriages similar to this with good intentions, right? We not get with one another in hopes that we depart, in hopes that we someday divorce. So then we start asking ourselves like, well, damn, like I was keeping the law when I found her. She was keeping the law when she found me. Why are we having so much turbulence in our relationship? What's going on? Well, read Proverbs chapter 13 and verse 10.
Proverbs chapter 13, verse 10.
Uh-huh.
Only by pride cometh contention.
So now we can understand. Somebody is being prideful. That's one thing I love about the Bible. It teaches principles. It says in any situation, if there's contention, somebody is being prideful. If not both people. Because you do have situations where somebody's being prideful. If you're not being prideful, you can quench the flame. But now if you want to keep adding coal and keep adding wood and gasoline to the fire, how much more is the contention going to burn? So it says, only by pride cometh contention. That's why a lot of us are struggling within these relationships. The man is being prideful on something he may need to fix, or he's not doing the right way, and a woman's telling him he's not receiving it, and vice versa. The woman's not doing something right on her part, and she's not receiving it when the corrections come in her way. So now we're butting heads when it shouldn't be that way. Why? What do we have to disagree about when we have a law? I can clearly open up the Bible. Someone says, hey, Yashami, is eating pork unlawful? There's a scripture for it. Why doesn't that spill over into the relationship? Am I wrong for thinking like this? What does the Bible say? Am I wrong for talking to my wife like this? What does the Bible say? Am I wrong for speaking to my husband like this? What does the Bible say? Now, certain things we comfortable with doing quickly. Eating pork, cool. That was something you did. You stopped eating pork cold turkey. But your strong opinions, that's something you don't want to let go of so easily. The mouthing off, the disrespect, that's something that you're not willing to let go of as easy. But you know what the beautiful part about all of this is? It's a choice. And that's why you have to understand the fury of God, because he said we all make choices every single day. Y'all chose what drawers y'all gonna put on. Y'all chose what socks y'all put on, what y'all gonna eat today. For the most part, you got full control over your life. And the Most High guides it. So when it's all said and done and Judgment Day comes, no one's going to sit there and have an excuse because he said these are choices you made. Right? Finish that?
Only by pride cometh contention, but with the well-advised is wisdom.
See, the well-advised. What better advice should we be getting than the Bible? Someone who hearkens to the Bible, when you read the Bible, you're someone who's well-advised. Now, if you listen to YouTube and all these different podcasters and they take on things, they ain't even keeping no commandments, and you holding that to a high regard, you're not being well-advised. It's a problem when people would rather look outside for advice than inside, especially when you're in the truth. That's a scary place to be in. So let's go to the book of John, because we have to here's the thing. There's conversations that have to be had. And I know y'all probably going like, okay, what's this got to do with being lovers and friends? We're going to get to that. But the thing is, we have to start asking ourselves, this person isn't being faithful, right? We all know what faith is in here, right? What's faith? Devotion. We got to start asking ourselves, if the individual I'm entertaining is not even faithful, devoted to the Most High, why would they be faithful or devoted unto me? The Most High gives us choice. Nobody was forced into a relationship. He said, shame on you if you didn't do what you were supposed to do, your due diligence, and making sure that this was somebody worthy of giving your time to, giving your body to, giving your spirit to. Shame on you. Now, the beautiful part is if you find yourself in a bad situation, it's not too late to change. All we have to do is repent. That's the simple fix for a lot of the issues that we have in our lives as Israelites. We just have to repent, to turn away from, right? And then you start looking at individuals like Abraham. What did Abraham do to be considered a friend of the Most High, right? Because we'd be like, man, you know what, my husband, he's not too friendly with me. Or you know what, my wife, she's not being as friendly I feel like she should be. Okay, well, the compare and contrast, what y'all lives look like. Abraham being an old man, uprooted his whole life and his family because God told him to do so. He said, look, I know you're probably comfortable with your family. I need y'all to leave and go into a land where you've never been. A lot of us, if we got that decree, we would be like, nope. Well, what about this? I got this. Abraham didn't make no excuses. We sitting there wondering why the relationship is being strained. It's because somebody is going harder than the other. You don't read about that type of relationship strain with Abraham because everybody was on one accord. You don't read about his wife saying, I really don't want to go. We got to walk where? And vice versa. Sarah heard what she had to do, and she didn't hear Abraham talking about, nah, baby, we relaxed here. I got a good job. Well, they was both willing, and they went. In so much, the Most High called Abraham a friend. This is the God who created the sun, the moon, the stars. For him to consider somebody a friend, that's big. That's huge. Because he said all flesh to him is like grass. So that means he stood out. So let's read John chapter 15, verse 15. Let's see the type of energy that his son, our King, Yahushua, Jesus Christ kept.
John 15:15. Henceforth I call you not servants, for the servant knoweth not what his Lord doeth.
But that sounds kind of contradictory, right? Because didn't God call us to be servants? Leviticus 25:55, he said, unto me the children of Israel are servants. So what is he saying? Let's read.
Henceforth I call you not servants, for the servant knoweth not what his Lord doeth. But I have called you friends. For all things that I have heard of my Father, I have made known unto you.
So he said, for these individuals, I'm calling you friends. Not to say that you're not a servant, but we're all fellow servants because Christ is a servant. He's just the highest of servants. He's the king. He still serves the Father. He said, if you're aligned in the same business that I'm in, I consider you a friend. Now watch this. Read verse 14.
Ye are my friends, if ye do whatsoever I command you.
You're my friends if you disobey me?
If ye do whatsoever I command you.
If you feel like you got something more important to do.
If ye do whatsoever I command you.
Christ said it's a stipulation. I'm only calling people my friends that's willing to do whatsoever I command them to do. We have to take that same energy and put it into our relationships. You don't have a friendly relationship, that's probably why. You're not being obedient in all things on both sides because we all serve. Christ said, I consider you my friend if you do whatsoever I command you. And first and foremost, that's talking to men because the chain of command, you got God, you got Christ, man, woman, children. Everything falls under that umbrella. Now read go to Isaiah chapter 41 and verse 8. And like I said, that's the common issues that we have today within these relationships. You either have, one, the woman's not being obedient to her man. Or two, the man's not being obedient unto the Most High. And both of those are cause strain within a relationship. And we have examples of both sides in the scriptures. The Most High is all about balance. You got situations where you had righteous men who had unrighteous women. And you also got situations where you got righteous women who had unrighteous men as their husbands. And you can see how each scenario played out. But go ahead and read that.
Isaiah 41:8. But thou, Israel, art my servant.
See, we are the servants of the Most High. When you do whatsoever is commanded of us, that's how you find yourself being in an acceptable position as a servant, a friend. Y'all ever seen Fresh Prince of Bel-Air? Y'all remember Jeffrey? He was a servant in that house, but he also became a lifelong friend by doing what he was supposed to do, being a good servant. It's no different with us. Didn't the Most High say, my house is filled with many mansions? Who's supposed to live in them? We are. Most High is no different. Go ahead.
But thou, Israel, art my servant, Jacob, whom I have chosen, the seed of Abraham, my friend.
My friend. When we're dealing with lovers and friends, at the epicenter of everything has to be the Most High. It has to be obedience. It has to be faith, devotion. That's the only way you have a good friendship. People will be like, man, that's my dog. We go back 20 years. He was there for me every time I needed him. Okay, boom. There's some devotion right there. We can understand the type of relationship y'all have, why there's such a fervency behind it. A lot of times we don't have that in these marriages in the truth because somebody is lacking. Too many opinions and not enough work. Man complaining, well, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do right by her. It doesn't matter. You have to. You're commanded. Same thing with the sisters. I have to obey him? Well, I don't want to because I think it doesn't matter. And y'all wonder why y'all not on the best of terms. Y'all not being good friends to each other. And that's something that should be practiced more often. That's why I love our culture. You talk about arranged marriages in 2023 to American Israelites, you should see the look on their face. Because they have this botched theory of what arranged marriage is because they watch too much TV. Ugh, a 68-year-old man's going to get with a 17? No, that's not what it's, no. We got kids in Tila growing up with one another. Those are the type of arranged marriages. They spent their whole childhood growing up with one another. By the time they're in their 20s, they know exactly who they're dealing with. You know exactly what type of family they come from. You know what ticks this person off. You know how they deal with stress. Arranged marriages was beautiful because it took out a lot of the guesswork. Nowadays, we just be rolling the dice. Sisters be like, damn, he's handsome. He got dimples. He got this. I want to be with him. Am I lying? Brothers be like, damn, she fine. I need that. You rolling the dice. Then 3-4 years into the relationship, you guys hate each other. There was no real type of foundation set. When brothers see women, they don't want to be like, man, I want to go meet your father. That's big. That was part of our culture. When you read about how a lot of these marriages happen, the fathers were sending them off like, hey, go meet the family. I want you to go see. Or they already knew because of the righteous reputation that they had. Man, they last 7 generations been righteous. Baby, you going to be okay over there. Like, hey, her whole family is right. She come from a good seed, a good stock. It don't matter which one you get, you're going to be solid. A lot of the carnality was taken out back then because it was focused on the spirit. This flesh, it gets old. You could be as fine as you want to be now. At some point, you're going to wrinkle. Things going to start to sag. Hair going to fall out. It's going to change colors. You got to have something deeper than just the looks to be like, you know what, this is why I'm with this person. But that's the climate of today's society. It's all superficial. Man, I heard she got a banging business. That's the only reason why you got with her? You didn't see all the signs that she was going to be a bad mother? You didn't think her going out to the club every single weekend with her homegirls who are whores was a telltale sign or a red flag? These are things we got to start picking up on, right? So let's read, let's go to the book of Ephesians. I want Ephesians chapter 5. And let's start at verse 21.
Ephesians 5 and 21. Submitting yourselves one to another in the fear of God.
In the fear of God. A lot of us is not submitting ourselves one to another in the fear of God. You feel like you're doing it out of obligation, and then there's resentment. That's all bad. Sisters be like, well, I have to submit myself to this man. Then there's resentment. Brothers like, man, in some forms and fashions, I have to submit myself into this woman, but it's not because of God. It's because you feel like you obligated to. That's all bad. You start really seeing God work in your life when you stop doing things just because you have to, and when you start doing it because you know it's the right thing to do. And that's always been the struggle with Israel. We was doing things because we had to. We went to church back in the day because we had to, and you hated going to church, didn't you? Some people keep that same energy, and it's truth. I show up to these Sabbaths because I have to. My forefathers made the covenant with Moses. You don't want to do this? But then you see the type of lives and people they live. They don't really be fruitful lives. But go ahead.
Verse 22, wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands.
So this is something that the Most High has commanded. This isn't something Yashami said or this brother said. We're not misogynists. We love our women. But God said as a woman, you have to submit yourselves unto your husband. And not only that, but what?
Submit yourselves unto your own husbands as unto the Lord.
As unto the Lord. There's no way you can sit here and say as a wife that I disobey my husband, but I'm faithful unto God. It is impossible. Impossible. You lying to yourself and you playing games. There is no way as a man you can sit here and say, oh, I submit myself to my wife and I'm disobedient towards God. They work hand in hand. If you're not obeying God, I know you're not going to obey me. And there lies the issue. A lot of us aren't humble. A lot of us aren't truly having taken on that servant role as the Most High has called us for. I've been big on that lately. Yeah, we're chosen. We the top of the top. Most High said, I put you above everybody on the face of this earth to serve me. Not to walk around with your chest out and boast and flex and get heathens to kiss your boots and all of that weird stuff, but to serve me. Most High said, man, as beautiful as Black and Latino people are, y'all supposed to make serving me look like the greatest thing on this earth. But then I look at a lot of faces on my people when it comes to serving the Most High. Y'all make it look treacherous and horrible. So wives, y'all have to submit yourselves unto the husbands as unto the Lord. Keep your opinions to yourself. Keep your feelings to yourself. A lot of times the women be like, well, my feelings don't matter. A lot of times they don't. If it's unrighteous, I'm not even willing to consider what's coming out of your mouth if you're being unrighteous at all, and neither is the Most High. Keep your feelings and your opinions to yourself if they are not in righteousness. But read on.
Verse 23, for the husband is the head of the wife.
There's order. Again, recognize the trap house that we living in. America told you it's a shameful thing for you to submit yourself to a righteous man. God never said that. Our enemy, the devil, Esau, said that. It's a beautiful thing when a woman submits herself to a God-fearing man. And I'm not talking about a Christian or a Catholic man. I'm talking about a law-abiding Israelite man. That's going to be the difference between life and death when judgment starts to hit this place called America. When we got buildings falling around us and we coming out unscathed because of our righteousness' sake, not because of how much money we made that year or all the different businesses that we set up, but because of righteousness, then sisters will finally understand. That's why the Bible said in that day, God is going to make a righteous man, his worth is going to be like unto the gold of Ophir. But a righteous man is looked down upon. That's all bad. Go ahead.
For the husband is the head of the wife, even as Christ is the head of the church.
I don't hear no brother sitting here walking around mad that Christ is the head of us. But yet sisters complain about them having a head all the time. That's wicked. And it's got to change. Go ahead.
And he is the Savior of the body.
Uh-huh.
Therefore, as the church is subject unto Christ.
So the church is subject unto Christ. We seeing brothers up here day in and day out doing things because the Most High told us to. Not complaining about it, but here with a smile on our face. So as the church is obedient unto Christ, what?
So let the wives be to their own husbands.
The wives need to be exactly like that unto their husbands. But finish that.
In everything.
In everything. When the husbands get to giving wives direction and order and you're not fulfilling it, you're being evil. You're going against the commandment. I don't care how small or how big it is. If a man said, hey, baby, I want you to do research on this topic, you're supposed to be like, okay, and do it. I want this set up as far as our meal plans go. If you're not going out and doing that, you're not doing according to the Bible. You're going off. Sitting there complaining about having to pick up stuff that the brothers be leaving behind. I got to cook every day. Who else would you rather cook for? Sisters don't even understand a lot of times how disrespectful the things they be saying are. It's like, damn, I'm sitting here putting my life on the line every single Saturday trying to reach my people in hopes that the Most High will have mercy upon our family, and you complaining about cooking for me. Or complaining about giving me your body for sex. What are we doing? You could have stayed single. Why waste each other's time? So it says, therefore, as the church is subject unto Christ, so let the wives be to their own husbands in everything. We're all servants one to another in some form or fashion. We sitting here serving y'all right now. I could be at home eating my little Sabbath meal, you feel me? But the word got to go out. And the cold part is the sisters, y'all not going to get up here and do it. And that's why the Bible says show reverence unto the men who are doing this work. It says know them and exhort them for their work's sake. Not for vainglory's sake, but for the fact that you're not going to do it. And a lot of other men aren't going to do it. So praise the ones who are. We're worthy of it. And that's just out of humility. Because I ain't nothing. I say it all the time. I'm nothing. Most High can take me out today and fill this seat with somebody else. I'm nothing. But for the time being, while I'm being used for a good work, we got to reciprocate that energy. Right? So let's go to the book of Sirach, Ecclesiasticus, chapter 6. So now we got to go into actually proving a friend. And why it's so important. Yes, sir. Sirach chapter 6 and verse 7.
6 and verse 7. If thou wouldest get a friend.
If you want to get a friend, go ahead.
Prove him first.
Uh-huh.
And be not hasty to credit him.
How do y'all prove a friend? I want to hear some of y'all test out. Like, what do you look for in a friend? Like, what's something that you look at, some qualities in individuals where you be like, you know what? There's somebody, that's somebody I'm worth, that I'm willing to deal with. You can just say it out loud. Okay. That's a good thing. Sister says when she's looking for a friend, she want to see what they made out of. How do they handle, situations when they're going through their own trials and tribulations? And that's a good one. I like that you said that because, the Bible talks about having I'm going to get the scripture later, so I'm not even going to say it. But basically, a good friend is somebody who's solid all the way through. They never going to fold on you. So if you see them going through their own trials and tribulations and they're not folding, that's a good telltale sign that you like, you know what, they got some good stuff within them. What about you? What you look for in a friend? Common interest, okay. That's a good one. What about you, Elder? Trustworthy, that's a big one. Trustworthy, can I trust you? And it's crazy. Trust it's like a blanket, but it covers so much. A lot of times we go to the extremes, like, can I trust you in my house alone? Are you gonna steal from me? It's like, nah, like, man, can I trust you with my feelings? Are you the type of person who's gonna use my feelings as leverage and turn around and use that against me at some point? What about you, sis? What you look for in a friend? Man, you throwing out all the C's. She said communication, compromise, consistency. What was the other one? Commitment. I love it. What about you, mama? What you look for in a friend? Ooh, respect. That's a good one. Just us having this conversation right now, there's no way you can meet somebody out there on the street day one and be like, you my best friend. And the beautiful part is when you're proving something, right? There's time within there. The best bonds always have, some history behind them. That's because it's been proven over time. When we buy products, that's what you consider a quality product if it stands the test of time. It's no different with people. You want to find them people that got all those good qualities that you can be like, you know what, I can see me and you doing this thing all the way into the end. On whatever level the relationship is going to be. If we're just going to be friends, if you want to be my husband, my wife, we got to look at all those different qualities and start incorporating that in our discernment. All the things you said is what we should be looking at. Because all those things that you guys said is what the Most High is looking for in a friend. Abraham had all of that. He was committed. He was consistent. He was respectful, trustworthy, all of that. So let's read. Go ahead.
Sirach 6 and 7. If thou wouldest get a friend, prove him first.
Prove him first. Go ahead.
And be not hasty to credit him.
And don't be hasty to credit somebody. We be so quick to be like, man, no, that Jake's solid. Next year, they gone. Oh, no, that Jake, that sister, she's solid. Where's she at? Where's he at? Read.
For some man is a friend for his own occasion.
And you know what's so cold? We talking about relationships. This gets carried over into relationships. You might have been the man at your organization for whatever it was that meant. You probably had the most money, had the dopest car, and somebody want to get with you just off of that for their own occasion. Like, I can see myself riding in that. Real talk.
I don't know, that's real.
You let a good enough sister walk in here, and she driving an AMG series Mercedes, you're going to be like, damn. It put a little cherry on top, don't it? That's vain. Same thing with the brothers. Man, like, oh, that brother tall, he got this together. It's vain. Look for those qualities we just got done talking about. Go ahead.
For some man is a friend for his own occasion and will not abide in the day of thy trouble.
Ain't that the coldest, though, when we feel like we're married to somebody like that? When you going through it and you at your worst, rock bottom, and you feel like your partner is not even there for you? But sometimes that's due to our own indiscretions and being hasty to credit somebody. Or not doing like Tobit said, willing to take this woman uprightly. Go ahead.
And there is a friend who, being turned to enmity and strife, will discover thy reproach.
Hey, that's the coldest one. Let the relationship be on rocky terms. We'd be the first one to throw each other under the bus. That is so cold. In front of everybody, too. Like, what happened to, being a team? We agree in public and we can correct in private. What happened to that? Nowadays, you let somebody get mad enough and they airing your whole dirty laundry out. Well, he did this and well, she did. It's like, whoa. I trusted you. You betrayed me. But this is what a lot of relationships are like in America. Super superficial. Once all the fun done ran out, the funds done ran dry, whatever it was that you got with that person for, then it's like, I'm disconnected. And not only that, there's a hatred and resentment there. Not even willing to work through it. That's why I said, look, there's a friend who being termed to enmity, right? There'll be something that happened, and now we don't have to be best friends, but we definitely don't have to be enemies. A lot of times in these relationships and these marriages and the truth, we treat each other like enemies. And that's just not how it's supposed to be at all. At all. So, was that all of that? I think so.
Verse 10.
Yep.
Again, some friend is a companion at the table and will not continue in the day of thy affliction.
Read.
But in thy prosperity, he will be as thyself and will be bold over thy servants.
Look at that. When they know it's all good, they're going to be the first ones to step in front like, nah, this my man's right here. He good. Let all of that go away, and you be the first one to let them walk off the plank. Read.
If thou be brought low, he will be against thee and will hide himself from thy face.
Now, that's cold, especially in this day and age, because there's been such a stigma put out there on what a real man is, right? I'm pretty sure you guys heard about it, a high-value man. What's a high-value man, according to the world? 6 figures above, right? What else? Brother said tall, dark, and handsome. Brothers just packing, right? All that vain stuff. You know what I'm talking about. You said what? All of that vain stuff, that's what a high-value man is. Whole time, the Bible says a high-value man is one who loves God and loves his people. Right? So it says, if thou be brought low, he will be against thee. Man, don't let brothers and sisters go through a rough patch in the marriage where just for whatever reason, things is not together how you want it to be financially and stuff. Now you start looking at each other like weird, like, oh, you're not the man I thought you was, or you're not the sister I thought you was. That's cold. That's cold. It's so unfair, the type of pressure that's put on Israelite men in captivity to be successful. A lot of our sisters be so selfish out here. Be having brothers out here breaking their back, working all type of long hours and coming home to be unappreciated just because they don't have a bag like how they would like them to have. That's super disrespectful. We're all in captivity together. I don't see sisters just up in a rush to go out there and make $1 million like it's nothing. Why put all that type of pressure on your man? Our foremothers was holding our forefathers down during slavery times. They was both out there picking cotton. He getting whipped on the back and she's there to help him. Not make him feel less than. I'm just like, man, what happened to the love? But that's why the title of the lesson, Lovers and Friends. We don't be good friends to each other a lot of times. Knowing dang well if you was in that same predicament, you know the type of help that you would want. But you're not even willing to dish that out to somebody of your own nation. Furthermore, somebody who you've subjected yourself to and supposed to honor and reverence. My goodness. Are you one of them Israelites that got the foul spirits that was talked about in Revelation? Are you one of those unclean birds? Are you one of those devils? That's why I said we gotta truly understand that. It's more than just saying I got a problem. You got to acknowledge why you have a problem. It's your environment. To be in this truth and still not holding tightly and holding closely people who are striving for righteousness, and you're still finding yourself going in other directions and other avenues, that's scary. You're not setting up no type of good defense for yourself. That's men and women. Men struggle with stuff. The stuff we struggle with just be a little bit different than stuff y'all struggle with, and it's pretty common. It's pretty common. Like I said, it's the #1 topic in America. Y'all heard about the passport bros? No? The passport bros, these is black and Latino men getting their passports stamped. They fly into different countries looking for wives. Why do they have to do that? Because there's none here. I can show, excuse my language, I can show you where some bad bitches is. I can show you where some baby mamas is at. I can't show you where too many wives are here in America. And then the women who don't even care to be wives are talking bad about the brothers seeking peace. But they don't talk about that when it comes to the white men who be flying around the country looking for their help, going on these business trips, right? We gotta acknowledge where we at, y'all. Go ahead. Oh, actually, no, that's all I needed. Let's go to the book of Proverbs. So now, I want to touch on the lovers and the friends aspect of it with some scriptures to really detail like what that should look like. So we gonna which one y'all want to talk about first? Lovers or friends? Lovers? All right, let's talk about lovers. Let's go to Proverbs chapter 5. Brother in the spirit.
Proverbs chapter 5, verse 18. Let thy fountain be blessed and rejoice with the wife of thy youth.
God said we're supposed to rejoice with the women who we've taken on as wives. It shouldn't be all bad. Brothers shouldn't be walking around with frowns walking out the house. Man. We're supposed to be rejoicing, knowing that we working hard together to get the kingdom. We should be rejoicing. And this is one of the ways that we rejoice. Go ahead.
Let her be as the loving hind and pleasant roe.
These are beautiful creatures, just soft, just, you look at this like the Bambis, right? Everybody's like, oh, it's so cute. It's soft and just, oh my goodness. What a sight to see. What else?
Let her breasts.
Her what?
Let her breasts satisfy thee at all times.
All you want to do is have sex. The Bible says, let her breasts satisfy thee at all times. Sometimes that's the quickest way to end the argument. You know what, baby? I'm wrong. My bad. Boop. You're like, damn, baby, you know what? I don't even know why I was tripping. Come here. I'm serious. The Bible, man, that's the thing. We're so used to this baby mama, baby daddy drama. The Bible says the marriage bed is undefiled. Not only does it promote sex with your partner, your husband and your wife, but it says do it a lot. Do it a lot. Enjoy one another. One day y'all parts may not work the same. Brothers out here taking these blue chews because they stuff ain't working no more. Sisters is taking stuff because it ain't doing what it used to do. Enjoy it while you can. Was that all of that? Nah. Go ahead.
And be thou ravished always.
Sometimes.
Always.
Once a week.
Always.
Once a month.
Always.
Always. Get it in, Israel. Why you think the Most High called us the sand of the sea? We ain't get that way doing nothing. Brothers hitting for home run. And it's a beautiful thing when it's done in righteousness. Man, even within the Israelite community, there's still just this stigma and like this taboo sense about sex. And, oh, shh, bro, we're a nation of people. The thing is, our kids, and we was taught wrong about it to where it wasn't honored. The kids back then knew people was having sex, but they understood the power that came from it and how honorable it was when it was done in righteousness. Brothers was walking around with their confidence on swole, like, man, I can't just give this to anybody. Sisters walking around like, I can't just give this to anybody. I'm an Israelite. It's precious. But now it's just being thrown around, dishing it out. Here, you get some, you get some. Everybody gets some. The value started to decrease. They said sex got easier to find. Sex got easier to get, and then love became harder to find. That's very true. Before this truth, brothers had bodies under their belts. Before this truth, sisters had bodies under their belts. And you didn't think twice about it because you just thought that's what life was. They told you it's just sex. No, it's not. But when you get in a situation where it's righteous, man, y'all do it a lot. A whole lot. Go to 1 Corinthians chapter 7 and verse 3. And that's the cold part too, because it says, be thou ravished. Being ravished means being taken. You ain't fighting the force. It's just come here. Go ahead.
1 Corinthians 7 and 3.
Let
the husband render unto the wife due benevolence.
I haven't heard too many times where the sister was complaining because the man didn't want to get it on. But for those rare occasions, Most High said, brothers, you better kick it in gear. Eat your herbs. Get your diet right if something ain't working right. Be there for your wife when she need it and she want it. Go ahead.
And likewise, also the wife unto the husband.
Now, that's something you hear a lot more of. Man, she ain't trying to give it up. It's been like this many weeks, this many days. And I'm not talking about the sisters who have issues with their bodies, because we know that sisters are unclean due to their menstrual and stuff, and some sisters got issues with that. I'm not talking about that. But when you're completely able-bodied and you're just not willing, that's messed up. The Most High said we're supposed to be walking around in love with one another. Y'all should be at the feast days after getting them good drinks in y'all system, giving y'all them looks like, hey, you already know it's cracking when we leave. Nah, I'm tired. And we all tired. I ain't too tired for that, though. Real talk. Sisters be acting like it's going to take a whole hour out of their day. It don't take that long. I promise you it don't. But go ahead. It don't, man. Go ahead.
Verse 4, the wife hath not power of her own body.
You see that? It's not for the sisters to be like, I ain't giving him none. That's evil. In a relationship, that's the one thing that separates you from the rest of the women on this earth, is that you have that intimate relationship with your man. If you don't want to give it up, why be with him? And then you know what kills me? The sisters who don't want to give it up but be mad when another sister wants to.
Right.
You not willing to give them none, but she is, and you mad about it. That don't even make sense. And of course, we know that polygyny is okay. A man can have more than one wife, but that's not what this lesson is about. But the thing is, don't be stingy with it. What the song say, don't hide that, divide that. Go ahead.
Let the husband render unto the wife due benevolence, and likewise also the wife unto the husband. The wife hath not power of her own body, but the husband. And likewise also the husband hath not power of his own body, but the wife.
Now, obviously, there can be some balance within there. But if you get that late night tap, hey, you shouldn't be rolling over frustrated. Here. Shouldn't be like that. Go ahead.
Defraud ye not one the other.
You see that? The Most High says that's fraudulent when you're doing that. Because the whole point is, whatever individual is wanting it and the other one is not getting it, they could have been getting it from somebody else. You're defrauding that person. And the Bible is so cold, it says that for basically to make sure that you guys aren't fornicating, that's why you should be giving it up. Bishop Izar was talking about in a lesson a couple months ago about how the women are dressing out here. Women are walking around naked. Men are visual creatures. We have eyes. We got to have that godly temperance within us, obviously, not to act on stuff. But, man, you out here in the world and you being tempted all day long, you should be able to go home and get that tension off. And the wife should be understanding. But when you don't do that for the husband, that causes him to what? In some cases, go and find another woman. But in a lot of cases, he's resorting to porn, which is unlawful. A lot of brothers be struggling with porn. It is unlawful. We're supposed to be there for one another. Like, you know what? I don't want you to slip, baby. Here, get this. Same thing with the husband. Like, damn, baby, I don't want you to, here. And there's love with that. Go ahead.
Defraud ye not one the other, except it be with consent.
See, with consent, both parties have to be like, you know what? We've kind of been going crazy. I think we could do good with a little break. It said that should be the only exception. It shouldn't be, well, I don't like doing that, and it takes you so long. That's the wrong attitude. And a lot of times that makes the situation a lot more uncomfortable. We all grown in here. You know I need to get my issue. I shouldn't have to ask. And neither should you. After being with your partner for so long, there should be some telltale signs, some cues that you should be able to pick up on. Like, you know what? He do this little thing every time he wants something. Let me go ahead and give it to him. She do this little thing every time. Let me go ahead and break her off or something. A lot of that leads to resentment too. A man should not have to ask his wife for sex, and a woman should not have to ask her husband for sex. That's a turnoff, if I'm being honest. It's a turnoff. But go ahead.
Defraud ye not one the other, except it be with consent for a time, that ye may give yourselves to fasting and prayer, and come together again.
Make sure you come together again. That's what's going to keep us coming home every single night. They try to downplay, but when it's done with a right spirit and a loving heart, men will be there every single night. Go ahead.
And come together again, that Satan tempts you not for your incontinence.
Exactly, because Satan knows when we going through our struggles, and he's right there in our ear. You know you ain't had nothing in a while. Oh, girl, she willing and ready to give you something. You like, I don't need that. Same thing for the sisters. Knowing you're supposed to be loyal to your husband. Well, he ain't acting right, sis. That man over there, he willing to give you the world. That's what Satan does. And we don't want to give him no ground to play in our head. We want to cut that off completely. Let's go to the book of Song of Solomon. We're about to read about some of this righteous R&B music. That's why R&B culture took off like that. Don't nobody make better baby-making music than Israel. Nobody. The fact that it's called baby-making music. This was a song and songs that Solomon wrote. Let's read this. 1-1.
Song of Solomon 1-1, the Song of Songs, which is Solomon.
So this is something that Solomon was writing, right? Let's drop to chapter 7 and read verse 1.
7:1. How beautiful are thy feet with. Let me get that real quick.
And the crazy part is a lot of people never even read Song of Solomon. Chapter 7, go ahead and read verse 1.
How beautiful are thy feet with shoes.
Man, he said, baby, I love your feet. Man, love some pretty toes, don't he? Go ahead.
O prince's daughter.
Uh-huh.
The joints of thy thighs.
Don't get to talking about them thighs. Read.
Are like jewels, the work of the hands of a cunning workman.
Man, see, our sisters back then, naturally, they had that BBL body. Y'all was eating right. Y'all was working out. Nowadays, the bodies is trash because they drinking it away. They smoking it away. Now y'all trying to find some exterior thing to come and make it right. It ain't going to never be better than the natural thing. He said, man, your body is like a work of art, baby. Go ahead.
Thy navel is like a round goblet.
That belly button. Go ahead.
Which wanteth not liquor.
Uh-huh.
Thy belly is like an heap of wheat set about with lilies.
Go ahead.
Thy two breasts are like two young roes that are twins.
He said they like twins. They the same. Drop down to read verse 6.
Verse 6. How fair and how pleasant art thou, O love, for delights.
For delights. We're supposed to delight in one another. We're supposed to delight in one another. I had said a long time, like maybe last year, I said, as banging as your body is, sis, it's supposed to be for your husband, not for the net. They just put it on the internet. Same thing for men. You got a lot of male porn stars out here doing some weird stuff and these weird photos they be taking. That's supposed to be for your wife, bro. She's supposed to look at that and be like, damn, I see the God in him. That God body. Go ahead.
This thy stature is like to a palm tree, and thy breasts to clusters of grapes.
Man, he keeps saying it over and over and over again. It's like a cluster of grapes. And you know the grapes was bigger and better back then. Go ahead.
I said, I will go up to the palm tree. I will take hold of the boughs thereof. Now also thy breasts shall be as clusters of the vine, and the smell of thy nose like apples.
Go ahead.
And the roof of thy mouth like the best wine for my beloved, that goeth down sweetly, causing the lips of those that are asleep to speak.
This man is sitting here talking about loving his woman in such a poetic way. But the Bible is, it is pro-love. Love your wives. Love your husbands. Go ahead.
I am my beloved, and his desire is toward me.
Look at that. Sisters, you want your husband to have this type of thought towards you. Like, I know my husband loves me. I know he desires me and wants me. He delights in me. Go ahead.
Come, my beloved, let us go forth into the field.
Man, I ain't even tripping if we in the house with it today. We can go in the field with it. I'm all about it. Go ahead.
Let us lodge in the villages. Let us get up early in the vineyards. Let us get up early to the vineyards. Let us see if the vine flourish.
That's all I needed from there. But like I said, that's that righteous R&B. When y'all get a chance, read all the Song of Solomon. It get real descriptive. Real descriptive. Now, let's talk about the friendship side of things. Let's go to the book of Proverbs 31 and 10.
Proverbs chapter 31 and verse 10. Who can find a virtuous woman?
Who can find her? We were just talking about earlier, brothers is leaving the country looking for it. they on a treasure hunt looking for it. Who can find her? Hopefully we can find a lot of them within the doors of True Nation. But go ahead.
For her price is far above rubies.
For everybody who will sit here and say, oh, the Bible is misogynistic, y'all hate women, that don't sound like hate to me. That sounds like somebody I would want to be a friend to. It says their price is far above rubies. Go ahead.
The heart of her husband doth safely trust in her, so that he shall have no need of spoil.
So when you dealing with a friendship like this, right? Because that's the type, even though there's a marriage, there should still be a friendship there. That's the type of love and trust a man should have towards his wife. And he's only going to get that by her doing the right thing and being an awesome friend towards him, and vice versa. It said that his heart fully trusted in her. He didn't care what the scenario was. He said, my baby got it.
Safely.
Yeah.
Let me say, it says he safely trusts in her, meaning like he's safe to trust in her. And that's one of the things, all these different things that really boil down to trust. You know, being intimate, that's because, like you said, you being tempted, you're going through different things, you're looking for a certain level of relief. When you take on a wife, there's never, it's no way, that's why I say it's a defrauding, because there's no way, more than likely, a man's going to sit up here and hear the absolute truth and still move forward. Woman sitting up here, that first year is going to be great. After that, I'm going to fall off. We maybe like once a week. He's going to be like, okay, I really have to think about this. If you choosing to be vulnerable, talk to me. I can see something's on your mind. You use that. Next you know, she get mad, throwing it at him, using that. But you said you're taking advantage. That's not going to build trust.
Exactly.
That's not going to build trust. You know, any number of these things, even if it's as far as a decision, I'm going to be gone, I got into some stuff, or we took a trip, and, you know, even if it's just as simple as a flat tire in modern times, I'm not going to be back when I thought I was. I need you to hold it down until I'm able to get there. I need to be able to trust you. And then it goes into the number of things that that she was able to do. And I kind of laugh because a lot of times when sisters read Proverbs 31, they instantly go to the getting up early. Instantly. And that'd be every sister's goal, be like, we're going to start getting up early. So you was up at 4 a.m., you struggled until 7 a.m. By 7 a.m., you was knocked and did what with them 3 hours? Like, that's not going to be the focal point. The number one thing that his mother told him was that her husband is going to be able to trust in her. I feel like that's huge. Just a lot of relationships, you'd be surprised. If you're a wife and you really strive to be this Proverbs 31, first thing I'm going to say is prepare yourself. Don't ask your husband a question and the answer you're not ready for it. You got to make sure that you're open, that you're going to take it with a grain of salt, that you're going to take it with some humility, that you're going to listen with the intention of receiving what it is that he's saying. That's the first thing. Because if you ask somebody, especially in a relationship, you ask them, so do you think wait, what? Like, you asked. Ask that question and really be there and listen intently. Do you trust me? Okay, and what are some of the things that I can do to build your trust? Because that's the number one thing that his mother mentioned that a Proverbs 31 woman is doing. She has trust built up with her husband. Go home and ask your husband. Prepare yourself and ask him, do you trust me? And if not, how can I build that trust?
And it really shouldn't be like, brace yourself, sisters. If y'all humble like y'all post to be, right?
True.
It should be nothing. And a lot of times that's where, and it's a beautiful point that you brought out, a lot of times that's where the frustration be with men and women in this modern age. You know, women sit here and cry for men to be open and honest, and the moment we do, now we have to do some weird type of like reverse work to help the feelings that we hurt telling y'all the truth. It's weird. It's like, okay, I want you to be honest with me. Okay, well, I feel like you're not really good at this. Every time I tell you to do this, it seems like you don't really care to do it. You don't think of me much, and these actions show it. Whoop, 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 and now they crying. Well, I can't never get right, and I ain't nothing. That's like, dude, I never said that. And now the whole conversation, instead of building, you just sitting there trying to get them back to a place where they ain't crying and where they're receptive to what you're saying, instead of a woman just being like, damn, you know what? I'm not the woman I thought I was, and that's cool. All praise be to the Most High. I can get it right. That should be the attitude. And then I'm even going to touch on how much more a man appreciates a woman who can do that for him. Because it's crazy. Men naturally are thinkers and we're problem solvers. So when there's a situation that we're faced with, 9 times out of 10, we've already looked at it from every possible angle, and we're already beating ourselves up about it, especially if we fell short. There's nothing more emasculating than a man doing that already and then having his woman just come here. Nothing more emasculating than that. So there's power in a woman who can speak life into her man on some smooth stuff like, hey, baby, I really see that you gave your all to this, whoopty whoop whoop, and I was taking notes along the way. I see why it fell. Like, do you care to hear why? Like, oh, shit. Like, yeah, tell me what happened. Well, I felt like you probably should have did this because this would have had a better outcome right here. You probably would have gave a little bit more time to prep on this side, then this probably wouldn't have felt like that. A man would be like, whoa, hey, I appreciate that. I wasn't even thinking about that. Thank you, Thawada. But a lot of times it's not being done sincerely like that. It's like really just like on a one-up. It's like, well, all them times he was getting on me, this is my chance. That's not going to build no trust. Even further than that, if I was to die today, do I have full trust that you're going to raise these kids right? When we dealing with a Proverbs 31 woman, like he said, it's more than just waking up early. It's more than just cooking for the household. It's a whole mentality that our sisters have to grow into. Even being a righteous man. Ain't none of us up in here before the truth was raised to be a righteous man. We all had to learn. And even with coming into the truth, there's still things I had to learn. Because guess what? Under old leadership, I wasn't taught how to be a husband and how to be a father. I was taught how to be a soldier. I was good as hell with these scripts. I could swing it any way and cut you up on the street corner. I didn't know how to build up and heal. I didn't know how to speak life into a woman. These are things I'm still learning, right? But all praise be to the Most High, we're getting it right. And the thing is, it's not a situation where we can just point fingers and be like, well, we have it. No, we're showing you. We went through it. Y'all going to go through it too. But just be willing and able to go through that process. So let's read on.
Verse 12, she will do him good and not evil all the days of her life.
This is the friendship that the Most High wants from Israelite marriages. For a woman to do good by her husband all his life and not evil. But a lot of times brothers be stressed out. A lot of times sisters be stressed out. So where are we going wrong? But again, that's why I brought that scripture out in Proverbs. Only with pride. There's nothing stopping you from saying, you know what? I don't feel like you're right, but because you do, I apologize. Sincerely. I felt like what I did was right in the scenario, but you're showing me that it wasn't, and I apologize, and I'm not going to do that no more. There's nothing stopping any one of us from doing that in a heated argument with one of our significant others. But a lot of times, that's not the route we choose to take. I had recently said in one of my songs, I said, I'm talking loud and you talking back, but still it remains. Who we hearing more? The issue is still there. My voice is raised, you talking back, issue is still there. So who's going to hear who? That's all I needed from there. Let's go to Sirach chapter 6 and verse 14.
Sirach 6 and 14. A faithful friend is a strong defense.
A Facebook friend.
A faithful friend.
Oh, okay.
Is a strong defense.
You see, when you have a faithful friend, someone who's devoted unto you and your cause, that's a strong defense. That's where the term me and you against the world came from. That's a strong defense. There's so much trust there. Go ahead, so much security. Read.
And he that hath found such an one hath found a treasure.
This is for men and women. If you find that, you found a treasure. And shame on you if that's not something that you continuously build upon. Read. Well, actually, that's all I need. Go to Proverbs 27 and 17. And like I said, this is where the aspect of a woman really knowing how to correct a man comes from. A man will love a woman like that. Go ahead. 27
and 17. Iron sharpeneth iron. So a man sharpeneth the countenance of his friend.
So when you got that real love for one another, you're going to be able to say those things and do those things to somebody to bring them up and make them a better person. A lot of times, that's not the mentality, though, that we be having when we be in those weird situations. People be feeling like this is my time to get you back. I've been feeling bad, so now I'm going to lash out. That is completely wrong. And that's not the type of friendship that God said we should be having with one another. Like I said, it would mean the world to a man who is really about this life, about this business, and he's getting humble, sincere, constructive criticism from his woman. It would mean the world. But a lot of times, sisters either don't care to do it, or if they do it, like I said, there's another angle they coming from. Brothers, we make mistakes. We're not perfect. And it's crazy because the women be quick to be like, well, y'all the heads. Do y'all not understand that means we're going to get a harsher judgment? That's why we need y'all help to make sure we're doing this thing the right way. We got our brothers for stuff that's out of y'all control, but for the stuff that's in y'all control, y'all got to be that pillar of rest. What does a pillar do? It holds something up, right? But a lot of times, sisters be like, I'm going to hold you down. That's not what I need. Those small things, right? Don't be an anchor. An anchor is something that holds somebody back. I need to be held up. We constantly moving forward. I'm not trying to go backwards. Sisters got to start incorporating that. When you see things that your husband is slipping on, find the right way to tell him about it so that he'll receive it. You know what your husband is receptive to and what he's not. If you have a certain attitude, you already know he's not going to hear you. Be crafty in a good way. And that's the thing, too. We was talking about that on our way to Fresno. The Most High has blessed y'all with a gift of being crafty. Y'all can use it for good or y'all can use it for evil. What did Eve use her craftiness for? Do y'all think Adam was a stupid person? I would take it that he was a very intelligent man. In so much, I don't think it was just that one-day event. It was probably over time, kind of like similar to Samson, how she just wore at him and he was like, ah. If Adam was that sharp of a man, he came first, how much more on point do you think Eve had to be to deceive him? My thing is, don't use that energy to deceive your man. Use that energy to build him up. If your husband is a hard shell to crack, find the way to crack it and use it to build him up, not to tear him down. Let's go to the book of Sirach, chapter 26, and verse 1.
Sirach 26:1. Blessed is the man that hath a virtuous wife, for the number of his days shall be doubled.
Look at that. So by default, right, we're using our critical thinking. It says, blessed is the man that hath a virtuous wife, for the number of his days shall be doubled. If a man doesn't have a virtuous wife, what does that mean for his life? It's going to be cut short. Stress is like literally one of the number one killers in black and brown communities. We got the stress of the curses, and then when we go inside our households, there's stress. Being a good woman to your man will literally cause him to live longer. And none of y'all married like weirdo dudes. I feel like all the men in here are pretty dope. Imagine if we could live twice as long. Imagine how much more we could accomplish on this earth. And not only just for us, but to bring back to y'all. And it's crazy because we read scriptures like this, and sisters be like, well, okay, it's talking about what the wife is doing for the man. What is he doing for her? By default, if a man has it all, you're going to have it all. Sisters are already getting pretty much everything they want, and y'all not even close to the mark of a Proverbs 31 woman like how y'all should be. Imagine if y'all was that Proverbs 30, how much more would you receive from your man? Y'all still going on vacations. Y'all still getting the bags and purses y'all want. Y'all still eating what y'all want. Y'all still getting this, still getting that. And it's not even all the way done in full righteousness. Imagine how much more when it's fully righteous. I don't know now, one brother up in here, if he was to come up on $1 million, that he wouldn't spoil his family. I don't know not one brother in here that's moving like that. If I came up on a bag, best believe my family is going to feel it. They going to know. Baby, here's that thing you've been asking for. I couldn't get it before. I got it now. But go ahead.
A virtuous woman rejoiceth her husband, and he shall fulfill the years of his life in peace.
It says that a virtuous woman actually rejoices in her husband. A lot of times, there's brothers out here striving for righteousness, and sisters don't rejoice in their husbands. They find things to nag and complain at him about. And that causes him not to live a life full of peace, which ultimately results in y'all not living a life full of peace. They tried to say happy wife, happy life, but that is not the case. The man is the head. If a man is unhappy, the land gonna be unhappy. Go ahead.
A good wife is a good portion, which shall be given in the portion of them that fear the Lord.
Exactly. And that's the beauty of what we do now. We're teaching brothers, look, you got to get yourself right first before you even think about looking for a woman. Not saying that you have to, but it would be in your best benefit. Go ahead.
Whether a man be rich or poor, if he have a good heart toward the Lord, he shall at all times rejoice with a cheerful countenance.
Drop down and read verse 6. So you hear about the good things that a wife is to offer, right? Go ahead.
But a grief of heart.
But a grief of heart. Something that a man will toss and turn and moan and groan about is what?
And sorrow is a woman that is jealous over another woman.
American Israelite women. Again, this message is not about polygyny, but y'all got to get that jealous spirit up off of y'all. And make sure y'all can be the most beautiful woman in the world. And when you start moving in jealousy, y'all become hideous. All that beauty means nothing. And you know what's crazy? What's really up under that jealousy? It goes to show that you don't love your sisters like you say you do. If I know by being married to this man, and I say I'm a woman, I'm going to get the kingdom, you hate your sisters that much to where you don't want them to get the kingdom as well? Knowing that there's a shortage of good men out here, you're going to sit here and stop her from receiving salvation. And it's not to say that's the only thing, but it's the principle. Again, why did Laban give his 2 daughters unto Jacob? He said he could have been like, here, take Rachel and Leah, I'm going to find somebody else for you. He said, I don't even want to roll the dice. I know you're going to get these women to the kingdom. I know you're going to go off and accomplish great things in this earth because you're a great man. But it says, for all of that, a grief of heart and sorrow is when a woman is jealous over another woman. Sisters, pray to the Most High that spirit come up off of y'all. Learn to love the sisterhood. Go ahead.
And a scourge of the tongue which communicateth with all.
Uh-huh. That's all I needed from there. Drop down and read. Huh?
I was going to say,
Go ahead.
the scourge of a tongue which communicated with all. He's saying a woman that's going to tell all your business. It communicated with all. Oftentimes that ends up being the case, right? Physically speaking, women are not going to try to fight their husbands. So they go to reputation.
Not the American woman.
Most of the time.
They're going to square up with you. For sure. You see
no,
it all on Facebook?
I'm not shocked.
Bruh.
I'm not shocked. But most of the time, women are not going to do that because they know that their husband's physically bigger, physically stronger. But they'll turn to reputation bashing. They'll turn to character assassination. Who's going to listen and let me tell this story about, my husband's flaws, his shortcomings, his mistakes, whatever the case may be. And it's grief. Because then you walking around, people think something about you. Ain't nobody coming to talk to you. But you come in the room, everybody go quiet. People break off in the groups, they whispering, they eyes locked on you. It's grievous. People don't like you. They ain't never talked to you. You're like, what's going on? That's a grief. Yep.
Real talk. Drop down and read verse 13.
Verse 13, the grace of a wife delighteth her husband.
There is nothing like a woman who is graceful. All her actions is just smooth as butter. She got finesse to her in a righteous way. It's just graceful. Like, damn, like, I was on some whole other stuff when I came in the house, baby. But the way you moving, the way you talking to me right now, I'm not even in that same mindset anymore. I'm at peace now. That's a skill and an art that most people don't cherish anymore. Women got so much power. You can cause your husband to be the greatest thing on this earth, or you can cause him to be nothing, all by what you do and what you say. Go ahead.
And her discretion will fatten his bones.
Exactly. Having that beautiful friendship where a woman says, you know what? I don't want to be a headache to my man. I understand he's probably not going to receive it right now. Matter of fact, let me make him some food and get him his favorite drink. Let me pour him up some kava. Let me get him some wine. Now you see his eyes getting a little low. Hey, baby, I wanted to tell you something. Discreet. Not just because, well, I feel like I need to be heard right now. Understanding like, damn, he probably had a hard day. Let me be a friend to him. Let me help you out. I got you. Don't trip. Go ahead.
A silent and loving woman is a gift of the Lord.
And, of course, that doesn't mean that the women can't talk. It doesn't mean that y'all doormats and y'all just get walked all over. But it's saying there is a time and a place for everything. It is not always the right moment for y'all to voice y'all opinions. And you'll come to find out when you don't do that, your husband will love you more. It's a good thing when your husband comes to you and asks for your opinion. That's a beautiful thing. A lot of times men don't do that because y'all already voicing it. That's a dope friendship. Go ahead.
And there is nothing so much worth as a mind well instructed.
Exactly. A mind well instructed. Like we read earlier, with the wisdom, they will be well advised. Go ahead.
A shamefaced and faithful woman is a double grace.
That's a double grace. You putting up points on a board. Not only is she bad, but her spirit together, she's shamefaced. My goodness, you winning. Go ahead.
And her continent mind cannot be valued.
Exactly. Sisters, when you moving like that, you have to understand your worth as well. The Bible doesn't call, and I love how Tazayawan said that. The Bible never called y'all weak. It called y'all weaker. Y'all got a whole lot of power. And when you operate like this, the Most High is saying, dude, you can't even measure that. Y'all off the charts, being a stellar woman and a friend to your husband. Go ahead.
As the sun, when it ariseth in the high heaven, so is the beauty of a good wife in the ordering of her house.
Again, we have to understand the things that the Most High would first call us friends for doing. And then you'll see that same energy reciprocated in your day-to-day life with the relationships that you create. There's no way you could be a dope friend to the Most High and not a good friend to your brother or sister. There's no way you could be a dope friend to the Most High and not be a dope friend to your husband or a dope friend to your wife. 1 Peter chapter 3, we're going to close out. I hope y'all taking away some good stuff from this lesson. 1 Peter chapter 3 and verse 5.
1 Peter chapter 3, verse 5. For after
this manner, I gotta stress that. Because again, America has tried to redefine what a woman is by doing this, this, and this. That's what makes you a real woman. But no, it said according to this manner that we're reading about. Go ahead.
After this manner in the old time.
The old time, not modern. The old, the women of old. What did they do?
The holy women also who trusted in the Most High.
A lot of times, sisters, y'all got to be real with yourselves. And there's no shame in it because the Bible says help our unbelief. You have to be real with yourself when you don't trust the Most High like you should. Same thing with men. The Most High could work with you from that point. But when you sitting there putting up this front, like I always trust it. I got 144% trust in God. But your actions show otherwise, the Most High can't work with you. But after this manner, the women of old, they trusted in the Most High. They were holy women. They weren't thoughts. They weren't boss bees. They weren't OnlyFans models. They were holy women, set apart. You couldn't just get your hands on any type of woman like this. It says what?
Adorn themselves.
This is how they adorn themselves. This is what made them sexy. This is what made them beautiful. What?
Being in subjection unto their own husbands.
I remember Bishop Tazaiwan did a lesson years ago, and this was before I was married. And when I was hearing it, I'm like, bro, you full of it. You capping. He was talking about how, man, when things ain't right in the house, you don't want to see your wife in no lingerie. Oh, yeah. That lingerie don't mean nothing. This is me as a single brother at bachelor. I'm like, shh, man, you got that on. It's coming off. Now as a married man going through my own trials and tribulations, I be like, man, you could burn that lingerie for all I care. I want peace. I want you to get your mind right. I want my mind to be right. That's how the women of old made themselves beautiful in the eyes of their husband and in the eyes of the Most High. Go ahead.
Even as Sarah obeyed Abraham.
Obeyed? Like she was some type of dog? Yes, she obeyed him. Well, what else did she do?
Calling him Lord.
Oh. But it's so crazy because you'll sit there and call your supervisor a boss and have no problem. Oh, I got to text my boss. Yo, what? You can't call your husband Lord? Right. It's the same thing, essentially. You just basically saying you're over me. I am under your authority. You want to say something?
I was going to say, it ain't a problem if they ask you to do something that they didn't already disclose. Hey, stay a couple extra minutes. It ain't, they'd be like, all right, well, let me just do this. Willing.
Real talk. But go ahead.
Whose daughters ye are.
And then it's so cold because you go through a lot of the profiles of Israelite women. First thing, it's like two things you'll see. You'll see either Proverbs 31 woman or you'll see a daughter of Sarah, right? But this scripture is so cold because it said, as whose daughters ye are, you are a daughter of Sarah, but what?
As long as ye do well.
God damn. Don't be out here sinning and causing your husband to have headaches and calling yourself a daughter of Sarah. She is not accepting you as her daughter. That's a fact. Can't just sit here and claim that. These are holy women. We're reading about them in the Bible. Their testimony is sure. If you're not living that type of lifestyle, you can't claim that. But go ahead.
And are not afraid with any amazement.
Read.
Likewise, ye husbands.
You see the balance that the Bible gives? It don't just talk about the women, it talk about the men. And together doing this is how we will be great friends and have awesome friendships and dope relationships. Go ahead.
Dwell with them according to knowledge.
Dwell with the women according to knowledge. And it's crazy. As I continue to live and grow, I see more and more how this applies. You can't be catty with a woman. That's not using wisdom and not dwelling with them according to knowledge. If you know naturally women are a little bit more catty, why are you going to sit there and be petty and catty back with them? They're not going to respect that. That's not the real man figure that the Bible talks about. It says we have to utilize wisdom. Understand if she's going through her little moments, know how to let her breathe, but also give that correction. We can't be poodles. We can't allow them just to do whatever they want, but understanding how to dwell with them according to knowledge. But the beautiful part is, if you got a righteous woman, you're going to have less and less in those scenarios where you got to use that type of knowledge. But go ahead.
Giving honor unto the wife.
See, we give honor unto our wives when y'all do well. If you're being a less than honorable woman, don't expect for your man to be singing your praises. Well, I was doing good for 3 months. Sis, there's 12 months to a year. There's no way you could be doing it part-time, half-time, and expecting full-time praises. It does not work like that. Men love honoring their wives when it's due. Go ahead.
Giving honor unto the wife as unto the weaker vessel.
No, the weak vessel.
The weaker vessel.
The weaker vessel. Sisters, there is power and strength in submission. Stop allowing the world to fool you otherwise and teach you otherwise. Go ahead.
And as being heirs together.
Heirs together. We shouldn't be in a friendship or a relationship looking at the other one like, yeah, I can't wait to get away from you. I know I'm going to get the kingdom. I don't know about you. It says heirs together. Both of us should be working our tails off trying to be accepted by the Most High God. Go ahead.
And as being heirs together of the grace of life, that your prayers be not hindered.
Look at that. Having a bad friendship with your wife, having a bad friendship with your husband could cause your prayers to be hindered. Crazy, right? All praise be to the Most High. All praise be to the Most High. Like I said, Israel, I hope you guys, took something away from that. Oh, my goodness. The time is here. I'm not saying, it's over in 2 weeks, but this world is hanging on by a thread. Yes, sir. Bishop Izar, go ahead. Con. Con. And I'm glad you said that. I know the people online can't hear you, but Bishop Izar just said the women, they're commanded to treat and respect the husbands as they would Christ. You not doing right by your man, I don't know why that isn't the common thought. But you not doing right by your man, doing your wifely duties, being a good mother, being a good friend will cause you not to get the kingdom. They think, well, just because I'm not cussing sisters out, just because I ain't committing adultery, it's more than that. There's no way you could treat your husband like trash and expect that God is going to love you and just accept you with open arms. Why? So you could do that in the kingdom? Look, we live a short life here. We're going to live forever in the kingdom, and that's why people never make the connection. Wickedness cannot exist in the kingdom because it will be like that forever. If you're not righteous here, you're not going to be righteous in the kingdom. Same thing for the men. There's no way you could be a half-ass Israelite man, you doing what you want, you treating your wife like crap, and expecting that the Most High is going to bless you with as many wives as you want in the kingdom. So why? So you can treat them like that? Get real. Get real. But, like I said, Israel, I hope you guys took something away from this. It's time. Judgments are coming upon this earth. It's only so much longer before it comes here. We have to understand the grace and the mercy of the Most High. He said the more that we repent, he's going to put the curses on our enemies. And you can see our enemies being cursed with the curses of Deuteronomy 28. All the rest of the countries, they're in war. They're getting hit with earthquakes. Thousands are dying in a day. 20,000 people died in one day. How much longer until that comes into the streets of America? And it's so cold, the Bible talks about that great earthquake. How long they've been saying California's been due for the big one? And then the Bible is so cold, it says that earthquake is going to take out a third of the city. Let's just say there's 10 million people in LA. What's a third of 10? Imagine 3 million people dying in one day. Is that what we're going to wait for us to get our acts together? You want to wait until that type of destruction is at your doorstep for you to be like, I'm going to humble down, I'm going to respect my husband, or I'm going to do right by my wife? Let's not be those Israelites, because you're not promised to make it through that. We're not promised to make it through that. Don't play with the Most High. Let's get it right. So again, I appreciate everybody who tunes in and supports. Please continue to like, share, subscribe. We're found on YouTube and Facebook at True Nation Israelite Congregation. I really don't have anything else to say. The Bible has said it all. I just want to see our people do better. I want to see us do right by one another, Israel. I want to see a lot more loving, and I want to see a lot more friendships being made and cultivated. Cultivate the relationships you already have. With that, we're going to sign off. Shalom, Israel. Happy Sabbath.
Shalom.